Hello, my name is Dr Anna Galazka and I am a lecturer at Cardiff Business School in Cardiff University. In this short presentation, I am going to tell you about my upcoming research into the role of the volunteers in the social model of care provision in the Lindsay Leg Clubs. The Lindsay Leg Clubs are partnerships between community nurses, patients with wounds, referred to as members, and volunteers. However, current research on leg clubs tends to focus on describing members' experiences. And what the literature on Lindsay leg clubs does not explore just yet, or not in enough depth, is the role of the volunteers in the social model of care that leg clubs provide. It is true that some writers, some commentators refer to the positive impact of social support from the volunteers, but this topic is often explored only as a sub-theme of explorations of members' experiences, not as a platform for social support in its own right. And this is the gap that my presentation will focus on. Volunteers play a very important role in organising and running the leg clubs. Their responsibilities include welcoming members, processing members' notes, preparing and serving refreshments, organising the venue, and running all the admin that comes with running a venue, chatting to members, assisting them with transportation to and from the leg club, coordinating social activities and fundraising to cover the cost of the venue rent. And we know from existing publications that senior community members volunteering alongside clinicians working in the Lindsay Leg Club network have a valued impact on reducing social isolation, loneliness, community exclusion of older adults through creating meaningful pathways for older adults to explore late life living. And we know that leg clubs enable older adults to adopt a valued and fulfilling role so that they can remain as energetic and functional as possible within their communities. More focus on the role of leg club volunteers as a category of support in its own right has been explored, has been discussed in my own prior research, in my own prior evaluation of the social value generation in the Lindsay Leg Club network, and I have described the role of the volunteers in various publications that followed the generation of that report. And from this research, which I conducted with kind support from Molnlycke Healthcare and the Welsh Women Innovation Centre, Cardiff University, and the Leg Club Foundation, we learned that volunteers can play a very crucial role in the running of the leg clubs beyond offering social support and refreshments. And in the next few slides, I'm going to share with you some of those findings that emerged from my research, which involved speaking to members and volunteers in 6 UK leg clubs. And I'm going to be referring to these leg clubs with a number for reasons of protecting the anonymity and confidentiality of the people who gave me access to their organizations and their stories. Leg club volunteers liaise with local authorities to improve the functioning of their leg clubs, for example, by organizing professional waste collection. In the past, nurses had to put the clinical waste in bags and boxes and take it in their own cars to the hospitals. I, a town clerk who leg clubs collaborated with, played a key role in helping the chair change that. What happens now is that a local clinical waste collection bin from a local health centre takes a slight detour and collects the waste from the leg club. Prior to that, they relied on the goodwill of the nurses. Leg club volunteers get members to and from the leg clubs. Volunteers recognise that it is not a taxi service, and leg club volunteers have to often use their own cars And the meaning of the work and the experience of the work is very often affected by the difficult conditions of their work, the emotional and physical challenges that members have. Nonetheless, those volunteer drivers often do not claim on the mileage with the leg clubs because they do know that the leg clubs do the work for just cause. Leg club volunteers are professional volunteers who participate in the training to stay educated about leg care. As one of the volunteers in one of the leg clubs told me, she wanted volunteers to be the ambassadors for the leg clubs, and so they need to have at least some essential knowledge about the medical side of things that we undertake. Leg club volunteers fundraise to keep the leg clubs going. They do it through a variety of means, selling occasion cards, which are often handmade by the members, chutneys and jams homemade by the members, teddy bears prepared by members and nurses, organising sponsored walks, organising sponsored parachute jumps by a leg club chair in one extreme example. And leg clubs volunteers are professional volunteers. They don't just volunteer in the leg club, they volunteer in other places and they drive on their professional volunteering acumen. I love it here, and I had no idea what it was all about, said to me one member turned volunteer. I was gobsmacked in a positive way about how well these places work. I am involved in lots of charity work, and I was in a meeting yesterday where I discussed making a donation to this leg club. Yet still, we know quite little about the experiences of volunteers working with older adults and their confrontation with their loneliness. So my proposed research will focus specifically on that, specifically on the volunteers' experience. Not just their motivation, not the consequences of volunteering for members' well-being, but on the experience of volunteering for the volunteers themselves. I'm going to be exploring volunteers' perceptions of and feelings towards their organizations and their volunteering efforts. I will be very careful not to freeze my study of leg club volunteering in a particular point in time. At the center of my research, there will be the COVID-19 pandemic and what effect this has had on the volunteers' experience. Why did they volunteer in the first place? And what sustained them through this volunteering throughout and post-COVID? My research will start in spring 2022, and I'm planning to interview approximately 15 volunteers across 2 UK leg clubs. Watch that space for new exciting findings. Thank you.